You bitch. You stupid bitch, man. That's,
I'm walking down the street, you're in my way.
Yeah, you had plenty of room to walk around me. You decided to walk into me. I made room for you. You are a stupid, you are a stupid.
You stood in my way. Goodbye,
I was not in your way. You.
In my way. Goodbye, Robin.
We'll see about that. We'll see about that. You are, let's see, maybe a nutcase would be a good word to describe you. So that was Margo Ellis, walked right into me. I stepped aside, gave her plenty of room to walk past me, but she looked right at me, walked right into me. So, yes, that's a bitch in my opinion. I don't mind using that word to describe a woman like Margo Ellis. Say nothing of Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein. You know, when you behave in that manner, you're a bitch. Too bad. So, that, you know, technically is an assault. I mean, I'm not going to waste the time of the SPVM by calling in an assault report. I will just post the video to YouTube and people can look at it and decide for themselves. But there's really no question that Margo Ellis thought it'd be a really good idea to walk right in. I saw it coming. I mean, I saw she wasn't deviating. I stepped, as I said, about as far to my right as I could have. You know, there's a snowbank there. I got as far to my right as I could. There was lots of room on the sidewalk. I pulled in my picket signs so that there's plenty of room to pass by. She just thought it'd be a really good idea to smack right into me. You can even see here where I fell. You know, just move this back. So you can see where I fell. You know, I was standing right, you know, about as far away from this. You know, there's lots of sidewalk here. Plenty of sidewalk. But no, Margo Ellis thought it'd be a really good idea to walk into me on the first Sunday of January 2014. So we shall see what comes of that. As I said, I'm not going to waste the time of the police by calling in a report of assault. But if I did that to a Montreal Unitarian, you could be damn sure they would call the police and they would file an assault charge and they would push it as far as they could. So again, the outrageously hypocritical standards of Montreal Unitarians come to light. We're off to a good start, Harvey. I've already been assaulted on the first protest of January 2014. Margo Ellis thought it'd be a really good idea to just walk right into me. And she had plenty of room to walk past me. Wonderful start to the year, Harvey. So that's Harvey Shepard, former Gazette Religion columnist, and I just informed him of what just transpired. Here we are, not even like 4 minutes yet into the second segment of a half-hour video. So yeah, we're off to a wonderful start to 2014. I mean, I don't mind this stuff. I mean, personally, if Margo Ellis wants to walk into me and knock me down, you know, she's welcome to do so. She's the one who's going to look stupid, not me. You know, she's the one who's going to be a little YouTube star. So it really doesn't bother me that much. I don't see the point in wasting the time of the police and the court system over something like that. It's enough to blog about it and put the video up on YouTube. I think she'll learn her lesson from that, or she won't. If she won't learn her lesson from that, she's probably not going to learn it from going to court either. So we're going to probably let that one go. I may actually run it by the police and see what they think. I say, well, do you want to pursue this or not? You know, do you want to deal with this or not? And if they decide they don't want to, well, that's fine by me. But if they decide that they do, then, you know, maybe I should. I'll let the police and prosecutors decide, assuming I even bother to report this to the police. But I'm not rushing off to phone them right now. I'm not going to waste my time with that. I have video evidence of exactly what happened. So no need to bother the police at this time. And I'll just quietly and responsibly sound them out, let them decide. Again, I'll let them decide. I'll let them decide if they want to. I won't I won't like make a point of pressing charges, because like I said, personally, I really don't care. It's like I wasn't hurt, you know. I wasn't even psychologically traumatized or anything. It was just one stupid woman being stupid, making her religious community look bad. I can live with that. Not the first time that a Unitarian Universalist woman went out of her way to be a bitch and to make a Unitarian Universalist look stupid. Reverend Victoria Weinstein is a master at doing that in terms of verbal and psychological abuse. You know, Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein is guilty of all kinds of insults and defamation and other verbal and psychological abuse. And interestingly enough, Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein is also guilty of physical abuse of a young Unitarian Universalist boy. I don't know how young he was, but, and this is the interesting thing, is Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein actually is so oblivious to her own inappropriate behavior that she actually put up a blog post describing her corporal punishment of a young boy in one of her previous parishes. I think this was a parish that she belonged to before joining First Parish Norwell, before being hired by First Parish Norwell. And I wouldn't be surprised if the reason that she went to First Parish Norwell was as a result of basically being dismissed by the previous congregation as a result of her physical abuse, her corporal punishment of a young Unitarian Universalist boy. According to her blog post, this boy was caught shoplifting cigarettes. And this boy somehow persuaded the police that had been called in to deal with his shoplifting to bring him to Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein. Well, Reverend Victoria Weinstein, she didn't have her doctorate at that point. So the police officer brought the boy to Reverend Victoria Weinstein to place him in her care. And according to Reverend Weinstein's own blog post about this, which the last time I checked was still on the internet, the minute the cop was out of sight, she turned around and kicked the boy in the rear end twice, and according to her own testimony, hard. And she then said the first kick was for shoplifting, and the second kick was for specifically shoplifting cigarettes. Now, if a Roman Catholic priest had done that, well, that would just be a terrible crime, wouldn't it? That would be the worst kind of child abuse. But no, because it's a Unitarian Universalist minister, you know, basically little or nothing happened, and Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein is still happily going around insulting and defaming people. I don't know if she's physically assaulting people, but I wouldn't put it past her. I mean, we just saw how Margo Ellis behaved. Anyhow, yes, we're off to a really good start here in January of 2014. These videos are definitely going on YouTube, almost certainly later today. And yes, a rip-roaring start to my protest against Unitarian Universalist injustices and abuses and hypocrisy that include but are not limited to clergy sexual misconduct, non-sexual forms of clergy misconduct, you know, such as what I just related in terms of Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein, and so on. And yes, hypocrisy like barging into a protester and knocking him flat on his ass because you don't like what's on his picket signs, even though you have plenty of room to walk around him. In fact, you know, all of my videos show how easy it is for people to walk by me. As we can see right now, just pull in the picket sign and there's lots of room to walk by. But no, Margo Ellis thought it'd be a really good idea to just walk straight into me, even though she had at least 2 feet, if not 3 feet worth of sidewalk where she could have walked past me. Now it's true, she's a big girl, a little wide. Maybe she needed 4 feet. What a stupid woman. But this is typical, this is just typical of the more belligerent Montreal Unitarians. They seem to think that they're above the law. But if I was to do something similar, they'd come down on me like a ton of bricks. They would pursue me for assault, and they'd probably even exaggerate what happened, and so on and so forth. So like I said, I have no real intention of pursuing that low-level assault on me. But I will, I think, ask the police what they want to do. If they decide that they want to pursue it, then I'll say fine. And I will go along with that. But I really personally believe that it wouldn't serve a great deal of purpose. And this is another thing, is I've in fact been quite lenient when it comes to even criminal behavior on the part of Unitarian Universalists. This is not the first time that I've been assaulted. It's not even the worst assault. I've actually had fists in front of my face. I've been pushed and shoved around and smacked into poles and so on. I've had picket signs stolen. I've had picket signs vandalized. But getting back to the physical assaults, I've had physical assaults where I've had a few scratches and bruises, no black eyes, no broken bones, and so on. But nonetheless, a certain amount of scratching and bruising, and I haven't even reported them to the police. Or in one case when I did, and the police actually came and interrogated the guy who assaulted me, he provided me with an apology, and I let it go at that. In other words, police came, they talked to him, he admitted wrongdoing, wrote out an apology for me, and I let it go at that. And it was a fairly serious assault. That assault I actually did have. As far as low-end assaults go, it was fairly serious, put it that way. I mean, I had scratches on my chest and so on, because he had basically grabbed my shirt and shoved me up against the pole. So there were scratches and stuff on my chest. Again, fairly low level. But the point I'm getting at is it was more, comparatively a more serious assault than what Margo Ellis just did earlier. So, yeah, and I really, getting back to my use of the B word, I thought about that for a few seconds before actually using it, and I used it specifically because Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein actually has the gall to accuse me of sexual harassment of her for calling her a bitch in a few Emerson Avenger blog posts. In fact, she speaks about or I should say the Stikeman Elliott barristers and solicitors litigation lawyer, Maitre Marc-Andre Coulombe, specifically spoke about a photograph of Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein that had the word bitch on it. And to the best of my knowledge, such a photograph doesn't actually exist, although there are blog posts in which I do use the B word to describe Reverend Victoria Weinstein. But what people may not be aware of is that the reason I specifically use that word is because in one of my communications with Reverend Victoria Weinstein, before I actually knew who she was, I got email communication from her that basically didn't give her full name. Some years before the Richard Buell thing. But in this email, she spoke about how she was known far and wide as a bitch. Well, the way she said it, it was almost as though she was proud. You know, it was almost as though it was like a feather in her cap that she was known far and wide as a bitch. So what I'm getting at is my use of the B word to describe Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein is simply using a word that she herself had used to describe herself, and had done so in a way that suggested to me that she was quite proud of that bitch status. And in fact, recently, just in the last few weeks, certainly within the last month or so, Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein actually put up a Facebook post in which she essentially said, you know, that she's reclaiming the word bitch, you know, and basically to her it's a term of endearment and so on and so forth. So how is it that on the one hand, Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein claims to believe that the word bitch is a term of endearment, you know, how she's so proud of being known as a bitch, and on the other hand, she's accusing me of sexual harassment, of using a word, you know, that she's basically proud to have associated with. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, does it? Unless, of course, you start thinking in terms of outrageously hypocritical double standards. And if there's one Unitarian Universalist minister who exercises truly outrageous hypocritical double standards, it's Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein. I'm not saying there aren't others, but this woman, my goodness, she sort of really takes the cake. And